This week on Pole House Backpack Weekend Getaways, we're continuing our camp here along the Harriman River at Harriman Hill Conservation Area. And on the menu is
Pecan Bars, so stick around.
This is Wade, and I'm Angel, and this is Iris, and we are Pole House Black Pots Weekend Getaways, where we show you all things yummy to cook in cast iron as we visit different places.
welcome to a very damp, rainy Saturday morning. If you watched us last week, we got here to Harriman Hill Conservation Area, right here in the middle of Missouri, right along I-70. So you might be able to hear some road noise on this video, but this week we're watching it rain, aren't we, Angel?
Yep, we sure are.
And right here by the Harriman River. Also on this video, we're going to be sticking with our fall theme. Last week we did a butternut squash recipe. Check that video out. And this week we're doing a pecan bars. So another nice, great thing for the fall. So stick around, we'll be right back. Well, we have our coffee made.
Yeah.
And we're hunkered down underneath our canopy on the back of the trailer. So luckily we're staying dry and the wind's not blowing, but we're doing breakfast. We've got bacon cooking right now. Coffee's already done. It's a beautiful spot. We're hanging down here right along the Harriman River. This is kind of the first of the campsites as you would back in, come into the conservation area, excuse me. And you can only see it, but right down, coming down through here, right over there, down off of there, right down there is a really nice boat ramp. But for some reason there's no boats out today, but yeah, we're gonna kind of hang out here for a little bit. It's supposed to quit raining by late this morning. We'll kind of see if that does, and then we'll hopefully have a little bit more room to spread out and get our pecan pie bars made. So, okay, so we're gonna kind of hang out here for a little while, and we'll see you in a bit. Well, change of plans. We're not still camping when we said earlier that we were going to be.
Yesterday.
Yeah, it was actually yesterday.
It was actually a very icky day yesterday. It stayed cloudy all day long, which wasn't really supposed to do that.
Yeah.
It was just damp, and we were spending all our time in the camper, and we were close to home, so we said, well, let's just go.
And today's supposed to be a not nicer day, which it is. It's a beautiful day.
Gorgeous.
Low 60s, a little breeze, but not bad for
But
November.
one thing I want to say about our conservation areas, as with any public land or any place you want to go camping, you know how many bags of trash I picked up off our campsite?
3 or 4, wasn't it?
It was 2 big bags.
Still.
It was disgusting. Somebody even left their manky old shoes out there. You know, leave no trace means what you pack in, you pack out. And right now I'm going to leave some other ideas about leave no trace. Sorry about our preaching, but I had to clean it up. Somebody has to clean it up. So when you leave a mess, you're leaving it for somebody else to pick up. You wouldn't
We don't
want
want
to
to
do
lose
that.
those privileges of being able to
And there have
enjoy
been,
those.
in the last year, there have been 4 conservation areas. They're day use only now because of people like the people that left that mess over there.
Right, so-
If you see a mess, clean it up. And if you're
They don't-
making a mess, pick up after yourself. Your mama don't live here.
Yeah, so anyway, back to bigger and better things. We're continuing our fall traditional stuff, and this is a variation of something that we always have for Thanksgiving every year, pecan pie, and we're gonna make pecan pie bars. So it's kind of the same, but thinner, bigger sheet, and so it's in like a 9x13 if you're doing it at home with regular stuff instead of a pie shell. But we're using it in a 12-inch Dutch oven, which of course is the same size as a 9x13. So we're gonna regroup, I guess, and come right back after we get things ready to go. Okay, so I'm gonna start on this. I might make Angel do the filling. Okay, while I'm thinking about it,
You're
we're
gonna
using
make me do the what?
the filling.
Oh, okay.
This is Lodge brand. Kind of nice big and round.
Lodge has a lot of decent products
Yeah.
that are more than just cast iron.
This is regular parchment paper. The regular in a roll isn't really wide enough for you to get a very big Dutch oven. They would work at a 12-inch, but they're only not really wide enough for a very big oven. With these, you can use up to a 14 or even a 16-inch Dutch oven, and they'll still come up on the side some. So we're going to use that in the bottom. Set this out of the way for a minute.
A lot of times we use aluminum foil, but he
Yeah.
wanted to use, since it's got a crust, use this.
Yeah, it gets a little bit, supposed to get a little bit better crust on the bottom with parchment paper than you do foil. So we're going to spray. Now we've never made this, so hopefully this will come out. We've tasted it before a lot of times. so that doesn't blow out of there. I'm going to go ahead and put this lid back on for a bit. Okay, now, first step is, of course, the crust. And it's fairly simple. I've already started with a cup and a half of flour, half a cup of sugar, it's regular granulated white sugar, and a quarter teaspoon of salt, okay? To that, we're gonna add 1/2 cup or 1 stick of butter. We're using salted butter. If you use unsalted, you can probably add a little bit more regular salt to it. So, okay. Now, with a pastry cutter, we're just going to cut this butter.
Now it needs to be room temperature.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. If you had a food processor in a house that you wanted to use, you could probably use cold butter and it would chop it up better. But it's a little bit kind of a pain to do this by hand if you're just using a hand pastry cutter. So the idea is to try to chop this up into little crumbly pieces.
They're supposed to look like little peas, aren't they?
Yeah. And the idea of doing, it's kind of like doing, some people that when you do certain biscuits or certain pastries, the idea of the cold butter is, as opposed to melted butter, which would be easier to incorporate, the cold butter, those pieces of butter stay in little pieces.
You mean room temperature,
Well,
right?
room temperature or cold butter, either one. A lot of times they say use cold butter. So they stay in little pieces, and then they don't melt until it is actually being baked, and therefore you're supposed to get a nice flaky crust.
So this is kind of like a shortbread recipe.
Yeah, I think it is. Yep. We're getting close. Now you see there, you're getting it into little crumbs. We've done some shortbread cookies before where you basically can actually form it. This looks like it's not going to be formable. It's going to be kind of poured in, spread out, maybe pack it a little bit, I don't know. We're going to be able to pack it much. Okay. Now, kind of get all the goodie out of there we can. I think that's gonna be about as good as we need. Now, take the lid back off of our Dutch oven.
Now, we had a question.
Yeah, we had a good question from a viewer,
Ellen,
subscriber.
she wanted to know what our cast iron was. And she wanted to know how we season it.
Yeah.
We've actually done a recipe. We've done a recipe. We did a video on how we clean and season our Dutch ovens, and we've done a short on it. Most often what we have are what?
Large.
And why is that?
Mainly because we like the idea that they are got a very consistent shape, the lids fit right, and the thickness is very close to being right, so therefore you get even heating throughout the entire surface of your Dutch oven. So that makes them very nice. Another thing we like about them is they're made in America. The only last cast iron company that makes cast iron, of course, in the United States. So
Since 1891, right?
1896, I think.
96.
So now that basically is all there is to the crust. I'm not going to think I don't think I can pack it down any. Do you? I think I'm gonna. What do you think?
I don't know.
One thing that I have done with shortbreads or something like that, if I try to pack it, I'm going to try and see what happens. I may not even do it. Is you oil your fingers, or even you can use water sometimes, or oil, and it keeps your fingers from all sticking to the crust. It stays in there. You don't doesn't come all back out with you. I know we do a shortbread cookie that's really
I'd
good.
say that's flat enough.
And it's
now this is baked to begin with.
yeah, this is
right?
going to be baked for 20 minutes, about at 350.
And I'm going to cut over here and we're going to look at these.
Maybe not quite ready, are they?
Well, they're getting close, but no, not
The
quite.
lid back on, and then that's got a few more minutes. You want to start on the filling? Want me to
Why
do that?
don't you just go ahead and do the
Do
filling?
that? Okay, the filling
Because
is
my
very easy.
fingers are still
Now,
not
I
working.
have my recipe in our Any List app, so it's kind of handy so don't forget it. This calls for 3 eggs. We pulled them out a little bit ago, so they're at room temperature. That's usually a nice thing to have. Seems like eggs do better. You're baking, usually. Go ahead and have it room temperature. Certainly won't hurt them.
I've got a dumb question for you, dear.
What's that?
This is supposed to be pecan.
We don't have our
Pie.
pecans out here yet. We'll
So
go get
should
them.
I go get them?
You can go get them while I work on this. You can take this in, we don't need that shrapnel. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of whisk these up a little bit so they get incorporated. This is basically kind of a, similar to a lot of pecan pie filling recipes. You've got eggs, sugar, or corn syrup in this case, and light corn syrup. Okay, so the 3 eggs. The next thing is we need vanilla too. I'm sorry. Now, light corn syrup. It is a K-Row is a brand that almost everybody uses, and a lot of times it's not used for much else. You can put this on pancakes or something, but it's not really the greatest for pancakes. A dark corn syrup or regular pancake syrup or maple syrup is of course better for pancakes or something like that. But just forgot to open this before I started on camera, so apologize for just a second. Get this opened up. Now, one thing that's kind of a pain on like honey or syrup or anything like that is to get all of it out of your measuring spoon. Now this is, of course, this is not a wet measuring spoon. That's okay, a measuring cup, but we can get close to that. It calls for 1 cup of light corn syrup. So if you take that and give it a little cooking spray action, then we'll put 1 cup of corn syrup in. This, of course, is the place of the regular sugar. The idea of the cooking spray is, if you can see it on camera or not, it's supposed to run out and get almost all of the residual syrup out of your measuring spoon or measuring cup. Alright, also we have that. Oh, I'm not reading my measurement very good. Supposed to have 1 cup of brown sugar. So, and you have to go get that. She's gonna have to go back in and do that. I'm sorry, I'm not with it. I should have reviewed this a little bit better. Okay, teaspoon of vanilla extract. We're using pure vanilla. Imitation works fine, but I like the vanilla pure a little bit better. Got a little bit better flavor. Vanilla's one of them things that you can add a little bit extra in these. It doesn't hurt anything. Vanilla's good. Okay, we're going to incorporate that. While we're doing that, I'm going to check charcoal. Charcoal's almost ready, so I don't want it to go past prime because I want to get the bacon. Okay, you can see there, it's looking pretty good. Okay.
Whoops.
All right, before we finish that, I'm gonna get my gloves. They were right over there. And get this crust baking. And then that gives us plenty of time to finish the filling while the crust is baking. So.
Yep, because we're waiting on the briquettes. They don't wait on us.
So we're using a 12-inch standard shallow Dutch oven. Also as referred to as a 6-quart in some cases. And since we're not preheating the oven, it takes a little bit more charcoal to get your Dutch oven hot. So that's why we use maybe a few more charcoal than what some people would for a 350 to 375 oven. But that would be 30 pieces. So, and of course we're baking. And when we're baking, we always do 1/3, 2/3. So what does that mean? 10 on the bottom, 20 on top. And we always do only a nice full ring around the outside on the bottom. Never any in the middle. That's done. Now we keep a few of them in the center for a nice full hot spot on top, even heat, and we do a full nice ring around. Some people refer to this as checkerboard style. Full ring around the top side. Some in the middle. Okay. Now, do you have your phone? You want to set this down, that camera, and I'll get this going. We need to do a timer for 20 minutes. Okay. I'll try to wipe out most of this gooey out of here. I should put the brown sugar in this measuring cup before I put the corn syrup. I wasn't reading my instructions very good, was I? And of course, powdered sugar, brown sugar is always in, it goes in packed. So that's the kind of time I do it in here. Push it down with your fingers a little bit. 1 cup light brown sugar. Yep. Alright. I think I got most of that out of there. Good enough. That's stirred up good. And that right there is a classic, basically,
Pecan pie.
pecan pie filling. That's right. Get that brown sugar kind of incorporated in there. Okay. The last thing we have to do is make sure I got everything right. Brown sugar, eggs, corn syrup, vanilla. 2 cups of pecans. These are chopped. You can do whole if you want it. Make it pretty. However you like to do your pecan pie, you can do this the same way, of course. Chopped, whole, halved, whatever you want to do. We'll mix them up, get them incorporated. That is done. So, we'll just let that sit. We'll give this the full 20 minutes, get cooking. Then all we have to do is take the lid off, put the filling in, and let it cook for about another 20 minutes until it kind of gets brown and a little bit more browner on top and crunchy and around the edges. And so we'll be back.
On this channel, we show you yummy, delicious, and interesting things to cook in cast iron, most specifically Dutch ovens. Do you know we have a cookbook? It not only shows you great tips how to use your Dutch ovens, but it gives you our first 2 years of recipes. They're $20 with $6 shipping and handling. You can get those at Pole House Black Pots, P.O. Box 212, Fayette, Missouri 65248, or on Venmo.
Yes, in the Venmo, look up Pole House Black Pots on Venmo. Okay, it's been 20 minutes. Take a look at it here, Angel. I think it's just starting to get a little bit of brown in it.
Yep.
But not much.
And it
Okay.
smells like it's done.
Smells like it's already been down. All we do is pour the filling on top. Try to get most of this out of here if we can.
Yeah, because we're not like them other cook shows, are we?
Yeah, we don't want to leave half of it in the... Looks like it's spread. We got a little bit we can kind of spread over here that doesn't look like it quite got over there. Okay, I think that's good enough. Alright, simple. Lid back on. Now, it says 20 to 25 minutes. We're going to go 10 minutes and rotate it just like our normal baking. So we'll see you here in a few minutes. After we put the filling in, we baked it 10 minutes, rotated with another 10 minutes. Now we're seeing if it's done. May not be quite done, but we're going to find out.
I'd say it's done, dear. It's not jiggly. Well, a little.
Little bit. Let's give it a few more minutes.
Okay.
It's at 20 to 25. We've been exactly 20 minutes.
So we'll be back.
All right, we went another 5 minutes. This is a total of 25 minute cook time for the filling.
Oh yeah, it's done now. No jiggle at all.
No jiggle, that means it's set. And it doesn't, it may be browned a little bit, One thing about pecan pie, if it doesn't get brown too much, it really starts getting real darker brown. It gets really chewy. So
Yeah, it'll take your feelings
yeah,
out.
so we're gonna let it cool a little bit, and then we'll come back and give it a taste. But right now, you can't hardly eat it or get it out of there. So we'll be back in about 10-15 minutes.
All right, we'll get that later. You ready to try it?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's a little gooey.
Well, it's still warm, so it probably needs to set up a little bit better yet, doesn't it? Looks a lot like a
Pecan pie.
thin pecan pie. My turn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's set up fine. Pecan pie is a little gooey anyway, always.
It's decent,
Still
isn't
warm.
it?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it is. So,
That does it this week for Pole House Bike Pot Weekend Getaways. We hope you liked this video. If you did, please subscribe, and we appreciate you watching. We'll see you next week.